recorded live in Houston, Texas. Welcome to the Papa Geoff's America podcast. Continuing the conversation one podcast at a time, we're having a conversation about what's going on in our world, politics, government, current world events, things you want to talk about with commentary, exhilarating guests, and what would a broadcast be without Papa Geoff's classic old guy humor? It'd be like a day without sunshine. The real question is this the America you want to live in? And now, Mr. Here We Go himself, PG the OG, Papa Geoff. In a time of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. You know, I've been starting off the broadcasts with that quote, and I kind of hate to use it, and I might actually stop using it, although it really does kind of make sense. Most people attribute that to George Orwell's novel, 1984. Actually, a number of folks fact-checked that, and there's actually no actual reference to it in the novel. There's some other folks that have studied it, but just to take it kind of down to its genesis, it's kind of true. What do you believe these days? Do you believe Fox? Do you believe NBC? Do you believe CNN? Do you believe MSNBC? Do you believe the Washington Post? Do you believe Facebook? Do you not believe anything? I got a quote from a gentleman the other day, good friend of mine, that said that he doesn't watch the news at all. Okay, well, how do you get your information and what's going on? And so if you're getting it word of mouth, you're actually getting it worse than other folks. But anyway, in a time of universal deceit where stuff is coming out and people are saying just about anything, including DJT, the current monarch in the White House, telling the truth is a revolutionary act, because if you say what's on your mind and you have things especially to back it up, it's even worse if you have things to back it up, people look at you like you have just lost it. And I don't know. We may leave that in the beginning of our intro, and we may not. I don't know. I kind of don't like it because someone else, a conspiracy theorist who is, I won't say his name because I certainly don't want to promote what he's doing, although I did follow his things for some time back when I was a Trumper. He's in Austin, Texas, so he's a fellow Texan, although I'm from Los Angeles originally, but an honorary Texan. I don't know. I think I need to come up with a different tagline, and maybe you folks can help me with that. Friends, call us, text us, send us an email of what you think our opening tagline should be, and we'll take a look at that. But it's true. In a time of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act, because as we used to say back in the day, we get cards and letters, and boy, I'm not getting any letters, but I'm definitely getting, if you follow me on social media, you know I'm definitely catching it, which is good, because we are having the conversation. So OG Radio is on the air. Welcome to Papa Geoff's America. We are the internet podcast that talks about the things that America, that you want to talk about. I am your host. I'm Papa Geoff, PG the OG. Write down our phone number. You're going to need it, 281-940-6980. 281-940-6980. You can call us or text us with your thoughts and comments. OG Radio weather, we got a high today of 96, overnight low of 81, and currently under mostly cloudy skies and an extreme hotter than you-know-what advisory. It's 95 degrees at the OG Studios near the George Bush Intercontinental Airport in Houston. Notice, my friend Andrew, I didn't pronounce the word H. Houston, Texas. Well, I want to do a little bit differently today. I'm kind of on a rant, as you can tell. There's a lot going on. My daughters are in online school. My wife has just started back to college, and she's doing that online. Several folks have asked me if I want to appear on their podcasts as a guest, and I'm definitely exploring that. And it's been kind of hard to stay up with stuff. You normally probably would have expected this podcast to be released sometime last week, but I kind of decided to do a recap, a rant, so here we are. We're kind of partially scripted, partially ranting, partially, hey, here's what's just happened before we decided to go on the air. So there is a lot. There is definitely a lot going on, and a lot happened last week for sure. But here's what kind of brought it back. Joe Biden just did a speech. I just watched it on MSNBC. And if you follow me on my social media and any one of my sites, I follow MSNBC and I follow CNN. I do watch Fox just to kind of see what state television is saying. I don't follow One News America at all because I think that's the second channel of state television. But I watch MSNBC, and Joe Biden made a speech, and that brought me back. I am on it, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But anyway, let's get into it. Here we go. People are definitely speaking out, and I wanted to comment about a few things that have been shared with me on Facebook and Twitter and text, and a lot of this was yesterday. Yesterday was a big social media day. I said on the last broadcast that some folks were concerned, and I would say probably actually worried, and I'm honored. I told you about the one young lady that was actually in fear for my soul, and my friends that I'll say they're my church friends back from Nevada. Some of them are losing their minds about my political views. They're concerned, and I get it, and we have different views, and that's okay. I am going to make new friends, and I hope I don't lose any friends over my political views, because I don't really think that that should happen, although they say religion and politics don't go together, and boy, they don't. They're kind of like oil and water. They don't go together, but you know what? We need to have this conversation. We need to talk about different things, and I'm getting everything from "you've lost your mind, Papa Geoff" to "well, we're voting the Bible." Okay, I respect what you're going to do, and I have some folks that have said they're going to vote for a third-party candidate, and where I support that's a choice that you have. I wouldn't do that, because a vote for anybody other than Mr. Biden is a vote for King Donald J. Trump and the royal family, which we saw specifically last Thursday night. But, you do what you want. That's one of the great things about America. I actually got a message from a good friend of mine who I've known since elementary school, which, as you know, is about 100 years ago for me. And he was asking me, apparently we haven't been Facebook friends for a little bit. I didn't know that. And he said, I noticed you have a few things on your Facebook page, and I know before that you were a Trumper, and I just wanted to see, is this really you? Have you changed your views? Are you a Trumper? And I explained to him that things have changed for me, and this is really me. This is really me. I've changed. Some people say we thought we knew him, but now this. What has he become? I actually had someone send me something today that the political party that I'm following, the ideology that I'm supporting, is from the dark side, and we're not talking about Star Wars, and that it's actually supported by the Antichrist. Well, if that's what people believe, it's not for me to say that or not. I don't believe that. If anything, I believe that Donald Trump is from the dark side, shall we say, with what he's doing, saying. I don't see how lying, cheating, stealing, nefarious affairs with every wife that he's been married to, sex with a porn star, covering it up, paying for it with your lawyer, ending up in prison. I don't see how I could support that. I just don't see it. Now, I'm not a perfect person. Not at all. Not even close. Not even close. I got a face for radio. But I guess we could leave it at I'm woke. And I only learned that term about a month ago. I didn't know what that was. And now that I know what that is, I'm woke, y'all. I am seeing things differently. We may not agree, but I practice disagree does not mean dislike. Or that old adage, we can agree to disagree. And that's okay, as long as we're having the conversation. Now, last week, oh my goodness, thank you for a brand new week, yeah? Week ago Sunday, Mr. Jacob Flake was shot by the Kenosha Police Department. There's still some talk that he was resisting arrest. There's different video clips coming out. Some folks are praising the police's actions. I don't quite see it. That even if there was a knife in play, which from what I've seen, there was not. I am not a police officer. I have never been a police officer. However, he's walking away, and the officer in question is clearly, to me, holding on to his T-shirt. This is the suspect, if you will, his T-shirt, and pulls him back out of the car and fires 7 times into his back. I don't understand that. Now, I don't know what kind of weapons the police department there carries. Chances are, because I do believe in the Second Amendment, I do own firearms. I am within probably arm's reach of a loaded firearm if I were to need it. Welcome to Texas. Hashtag don't mess with Texas. But if he had a 15-round magazine and he's carrying at least 2 spares, 7, he could have put 15 in the poor kid. And I don't get it. This kid is paralyzed from the waist down. He's a paraplegic. Did he have a knife? I don't know. What if he did? What if he did? It was excessive use of force. Come on. Come on. I'm not in the officer's head. I wasn't there. I'm only going on what I'm seeing. But come on. Come on. And I just don't see it. And have I, now as a white man, I've never had to face that. I know what to do if I'm stopped by law enforcement. I've taught my children what to do if they're stopped by law enforcement. And I've always been taught to respect law enforcement. And I'm not saying disrespect the police, but my goodness, just be careful. And especially if you're dark-skinned, if you're, shall we say, other than Caucasian, be careful, because it sure seems like you're being targeted. What else is going on? Oh, yes, in Kenosha, the 17-year-old who had an AR-15 type of assault weapon, who came from out of state, by the way, and killed 2 people and is now under arrest for murder. He is in custody and is awaiting extradition. And hey, guess what? President Trump is defending him. And so is that other person that we don't want to talk about, the conspiracy theorists, that he's a hero. And this is a 17-year-old kid who should not have ever had access to that weapon. He came from out of state. He's not functioning in any type of security capacity because he's not old enough. He has things on his social media that indicate that he was supportive of President Trump, which he is. He was or had something to do with a law enforcement explorer type cadet program. Okay. And some folks in right-wing media are saying, but he cleaned pools. He was a lifeguard and he cleaned up graffiti but he also killed 2 people. And that's okay? No, it's not okay. And so we'll have to see where that goes. The RNC, the Republican National Coronation, 4 nights along with DJT's coronation celebration on Thursday night, and that's supposed to be okay. No social distancing. No masks, 2,000 give or take people. With Rudy, and I like Rudy back from his days when he was in politics there in New York, and he did his thing with the RICO Act and such, and wiping his forehead with his handkerchief, wiping his face, and then putting his hand on the dress, shall we say, of the young lady that was sitting next to him. And there's just the people that were in the room with me when that video came on, their comment was, and I quote, ew. Friday last week was Commitment. It was the anniversary of the March on Washington. The Commitment program was organized by Reverend Al Sharpton and the National Action Network. It was the 57th anniversary of Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech, and I think that is okay. It was completely nonviolent. Protests, which the United States, in case you don't know it, or in case you forgot, or in case you spend 7 hours a day on Fox News, the United States was born out of protest, and not necessarily peaceful protest. Protesting is our right. That's why it's our right. But it's not all right to burn and to loot and to kill and to things like that. We shouldn't be doing that. That is not okay. But peaceful protest and the March on Washington, the anniversary of that, and having that program, which was socially distanced, which there were masks, temperature checks, and there was no violence at all, I think that's great. Additional shooting in Portland, Oregon. Portland's been a hotspot for the last several months and is literally again, or shall we say still. The Trump supporters, they got their caravan together, and from what I understand, we're supposed to stay on the freeway with their Hong Kong toot toot beep beep to show support for President Trump, which is okay if that's what they want to do. But from what we understand, some of them got off of the freeway, and I saw a video this morning of some shooting paintballs from a vehicle, and that's not okay. And I suppose we should be glad that it's not rubber bullets or actual live ammunition. I don't know. This is just not good, not acceptable. And President Trump is fanning the flames. It's just not okay. And people are saying, well, what about Biden? What is Slow Joe? What is Sleepy Joe going to do? He's not speaking out. He needs to do this. He needs to do... Well, he did speak out today. Now, he has spoken out on social media, but he came out in person today, and that's the speech that I saw. He said, and I quote, "We need to stand against violence. Rioting is not protesting." Amen. Absolutely. Now, he's been saying this all the way along, but he said it in person today. He said, quote, "Do I look like a radical socialist with a soft spot for rioters? Really?" Close quote. The really was part of what he said, guys, not me. Do I look like a radical socialist with a soft spot for rioters? Really? No, you don't, Joe. You don't. You never have. And I'm not seeing it. Joe said, quote, "I want a safe America," and I completely support that. I support the right to peacefully protest. I wanted to go to Portland. My family will tell you that I wanted to go to Portland, and probably if not for COVID, I probably would have. Probably best that I didn't. But Joe is someone that we have to support. We need to vote Democrat up and down the ballot. Hashtag vote blue. But let's not forget, on that same note, that Biden is not the president yet. Mr. Trump is still the president. It's still his job. He's still the president. It's still his job, at least for now. So much for last week. Oh, wait a minute. I'm in Houston. There's a hurricane that was predicted to come through here. We were actually in the path of the hurricane cone. It was modeled to come through Houston. It changed its path in the model on one evening and held true that it did not. It did hit Louisiana, however, and as of this morning, I heard that the death toll is 14. Hundreds of thousands of people that are without power, and we learned that might be without water for weeks. President Trump made a visit to Louisiana, and I saw a video clip of him signing autographs for public safety officials, and then after he handed it to them, telling them, "Put it on eBay, you'll get $10,000. Yeah. And, California's on fire, too. It's not like stuff isn't going on here. Climate change is real. California's on fire. My friend, and who was going to be my premiere podcast episode guest, he was evacuated from his home, and I don't know if he's back in or not. California's on fire, and the hurricane has done its thing, and we are not out of hurricane season in my area until at least the middle of October. Coronavirus is still here. Imagine that. I heard coronavirus talk that hydroxychloroquine is okay because it's been around since this particular person said the 1960s. I looked it up. It actually was brought into play in 1955 as a cure, a therapy, if you will, for malaria. One person said that, and this person's source of news is Fox News, that hydroxychloroquine is absolutely a acceptable therapeutic treatment for coronavirus. That's not what the authorities are saying. This particular person's source had said that people are dying because they're old anyway. Really? People in America are sick. And, in this particular case, the FDA gave an emergency authorization for hydroxychloroquine, and then the peer-reviewed medical review paper, The Lancet, said yes, then The Lancet said no, then the FDA said no. But Trump is still saying yes. I tried it. What have you got to lose? Oh, besides your life? Don't take medicine that's not yours. What do you have to lose? Trump's new guy at the White House, Dr. Scott Atlas. Okay, sounds like a Marvel character. He's a neuroradiologist. And I can only guess what that is. And I'm sure you have to have a large level of smarts to be able to do that. Although Trump put Dr. Ben Carson, who is a neurosurgeon, put him in charge of housing and urban development as opposed to Surgeon General or as opposed to something having to do with medicine. Why would I put someone in charge of medicine that has medical experience? Why would I do that? Oh, my goodness. But this Dr. Scott Atlas has no experience in public health or epidemiology. Oh, why would I want to put an expert in there? And hasn't practiced medicine in nearly 10 years. But here it is. He's on Fox News. So that makes it okay. So the CDC comes out yesterday and adjusts their numbers because they don't want to get caught in this, whatever this is. I'm not saying one way or the other, but they adjusted their numbers, and all I can say about statistics is you can make them say anything you want to. I haven't reviewed the numbers. I know that people are telling me that there's only 10,000 actual coronavirus cases, and that the others have died because they were sick with other comorbidities, as we would call them in the business. I put in a post last night to a friend of mine who is a Trumper that people actually all die of cardiopulmonary arrest. That's the only thing you die from because your heart stops and your breathing stops, or one stops before the other. And you die, you expire, but there are other things that are usually leading up to it. Very few people die just because they die. Another friend on Facebook who is clearly a Trumper, and when I said that, the statistics are just statistics and such, and that I was concerned for this person, they said, oh, that scary virus that has a 99% cure rate? I'm shaking in my boots. What? 99% cure rate? There's 183,000 plus people that are dead. Oh, that's just fake news, Geoff. That's just a hoax. That's not real. Okay, call your dad. You're in a cult. Anyway, shouldn't healthcare be a basic human right? Now, guys, a lot of you know, and for those of you that don't, I was an essential worker for about 10 years. I was a paramedic. I was an emergency paramedic in Reno, Nevada. I worked on a ALS, Advanced Life Support Ambulance. I worked in the 911 system in Washoe County. And I met a lot of awesome people, both in the business. In fact, one of my very good friends who was a former partner of mine at that agency is planning on coming on and being a guest and being able to talk about the emergency medical service there and what COVID is doing to Reno and what things are happening. And we hope to have him on within the next couple of weeks. But I also met a lot of patients in almost 10 years' time, and almost every day, I met someone, young and old, that had to make the choice between being able to buy their medication or being able to have food. There's a problem. There is a problem. There is a disconnect with that. Healthcare is, not shouldn't be, is a basic human right. Healthcare for all should be provided. I used to move some of the same people on a routine basis. I would see some of the same people every day. I would see some of the same people. I have had several instances, and I can think of a cartoon that a friend of mine, a nurse, who posted the other day. It was a SpongeBob cartoon, and this is the face that you make as a nurse when the patient you just discharged is back. Been there, done that. I have even been the medic that took the nurse, the same patient that I took her last time. It happens. And people are going to the emergency room. They are using the emergency department as their primary care physician. And if healthcare is a basic human need, it is. It's a basic human right. If we did it the right way, if we took care of each other, they would be able to have a primary care physician. They wouldn't be invading and taking over the emergency department to go there for something that's not an emergency. Why aren't we taking care of each other? Wait a minute, Papa Geoff, you're supporting socialism. Socialist, radical, left-wing Papa Geoff. Well, maybe I am, but if taking care of each other is wrong, I don't want to be right. I've heard a song lyric that said that, and I won't sing it for you, but I don't want to be wrong. I wasn't going to do that. We are such a polarized tribal society these days. It needs to change, and I believe that change is possible with Joe Biden. You may think that I'm the crazy one, but I'm not the only one. And I think that if you drink the Kool-Aid and want to continue to go with Donald Trump, I think you're the one that's sadly mistaken. And I feel sorry for you. But that is your choice. Welcome to America. Unfortunately, right now, it's welcome to Donald Trump's America. We got some new stuff coming next time. Are excited to do a few more things this week. We're going to change some things. We're bringing in some new things, and I think you're going to like it. And I know you're going to like it because I like it, and why wouldn't you like it if I don't like it? One of our new features that's going to be coming is called "Why Is It Okay?" And we'll let you know how that's going to work. We'll let you know that next time. Hey, guys, remember to follow us on social media, like us on our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter. Do whatever it is you do on Instagram because, as I said last time, I'm still trying to figure that one out. Keep an eye out for our new YouTube channel where, yes, you can see Papa Geoff sort of kind of live recorded. You can see Papa Geoff's face for radio. And be sure to call us or text us with your comments at 281-940-6980. 281-940-6980. Remember, you can also email us at papajeffpodcast@gmail.com. And that's it for today's broadcast, guys. Welcome. Thanks for being with us today. Remember to take care of each other. Wear a mask. Stay home if you can. Socially distance. Wash your hands. And please, please, please remember, disagree doesn't mean dislike. Because, as we say, we want you guys back with us. We want to continue this conversation one podcast at a time. Thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for your support. We hope we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us for the Papa Geoff's America podcast. Papa Geoff's America is recorded live at OG Studios in Houston, Texas, and is a production of Cameron Communications. Special thanks and music credit to Texas Radio Fish, Galveston County, Texas, online at ccmixter.org. Email us your suggestions and comments to papajeffpodcast@gmail.com. Please subscribe to our podcast at papajeffpodcast.buzzsprout.com. Follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Thanks again for joining us. We're looking forward to seeing you next time when we continue the conversation one podcast at a time.